What's up, fight fans? Matt once again, calling in, taping in, recording in my WEC 47 predictions. Most people here, they kind of stick to the UFC banner. I like to dabble a little bit in every banner, whether it be WEC, Dream, Strike Force, anything where they wear 4-ounce gloves and they punch and kick you in the face. I fuck with it. So, first fight for WEC 47. Going to do 2 preliminary fights. Not going to get real in depth on the preliminary card. We're going to jump to the main card. First fight on the preliminary card that I'm going to go in detail in is Chad George versus Scott Jorgensen. Chad George, he's 11-4 fighter. He's a boxer wrestler. He's on a 6-fight win streak, coming off a win against Josh Hosman in his WEC debut. Other than that, I don't know a lot about him. His opponent, on the other hand, Scott Jorgensen, great wrestler out of the Pac-10. For those who aren't up on your amateur wrestling, Pac-10 produces, great wrestlers. He's very fast-paced. He's versed in submissions. He's got decent stand-up. I'd even go as far as to say above-average stand-up. He's willing to bang with anybody. He's 4 wins out of his last 5 fights, excluding the WEC debut, which was a loss to Damasio Page. I think that the ground game of Jorgensen and just his intensity is going to be a little too much for Chad George to handle. Like I said, I don't know a lot about him. Never seen the kid fight, but Jorgensen's a monster. And definitely deserves main card fights. I don't know what WEC is doing, so give this kid some fights, man. Scott Jorgensen, 2nd round TKO. Leonard Garcia versus George Roop, another fight I think that should be on the main card for the same reason. WEC, you're going to try these pay-per-view cards. Pay-per-view cards, you got to have, if they're not going to be great fights, they got to at least be names that people know and people that they want to see fight. Leonard Garcia, granted, he's lost 2 out of his last 3, but people know Leonard Garcia. They know Leonard Garcia from the UFC in his war with Roger Huerta. They know Leonard Garcia from knocking out Jens Pulver. They know Leonard Garcia from his fight with Mike Thomas Brown. So, this guy needs to be on the main card, man. You got to put the cats that people know on the main card until you become an established organization. Then you can take the risk of throwing up-and-comers on there. I'm not saying that the cats on the main card don't deserve to be there, but, you got to make an educated decision, WEC. So, anyway, Leonard Garcia versus George Roop. We all know George Roop from The Ultimate Fighter fame, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter. He lost his WEC debut against Eddie Wineland. And, George Roop's known for taking fights on short notice. You know what I'm saying? No matter what weight class you're talking about, you need a fighter 2 weeks, 1 week, 13 days, 11 days, 35 seconds. Call George Roop. This kid will fight. So it's going to be a talented one. It's going to be a fun one. I don't think George Roop is going to be able to hang with Leonard Garcia. I think Leonard Garcia is going to knock this poor guy out in the first round. So I'm going to go Leonard Garcia, TKO, referee stoppage due to strikes, first round. Now we're on to the main card, I believe. Yeah. Nope. Actually, this is one more prelim. You're getting 3 prelims out of me today, fans. So, Karen Darabedian, 9-1 record, strong judo background, strong grappling background. He's trains with Manny Gambarian and Carl Parisian. Very well-rounded fighter. He's on a 7-fight win streak. His WEC debut was a win over Razor Rob McCullough from the Team Punishment Camp. So, he's fighting Bart Palashevsky. Bart Palashevsky is, ever since the beginning days of WEC, has been one of my favorites due to the tattoos. And I'm not Polish, but this kid comes to fucking fight. He's got a good chin. He's got a stiff right. Good stand-up. He's, well-versed on the ground. I've seen him sub some cats out. I've actually seen him fight live. He's got a tough chin. He's almost got 50 professional fights. He started out his career at 0-4 and has improved to 33-9 since then. So I think he's 33-12 right now. So, with that being said, I don't think he has a chance in this fight. I think the ground game by Darabedian is going to be too strong. Karen Darabedian, unanimous decision. Then we have Davidas Tarosivius versus L.C. Davis. Tarosivius is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter with a 12-3 record. He's got notable wins over the previously spoke about Bart Palashevsky and Dan Lawizon, who we know from the UFC, and he lost a very close decision to Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar now is on his way to a UFC title fight in the lightweight division against BJ Penn. Now, if you're fighting Frankie Edgar and you're not losing by much, I think it was a split decision loss, you're probably a fucking damn good fighter. On the other hand, we got LC Davis. He's a wrestler. He's 15-2. He's on a 2-fight win streaks, both of them by decision here in the WEC. Don't know a lot about LC Davis. Haven't seen him fight. I've seen the tape of him fight once, but I didn't even get to see the entire fight. I think it was just a round and a half. He's a wrestler. I know he's a big, strong kid. He's big for this weight class, but I'm going to go with what I know. I'm going to go Taro Sevius by submission, late second round. But that's just strictly a guess. You know, I'm not taking anything away from LC Davis. I know LC Davis has beat Javier Vasquez, who is, you know, a pretty talented fighter. But I just don't know enough about him, you know. So I'm going to go with what I know. I'm going to go Davidas Taro Sevius submission, late second round. Speaking of Javier Vasquez, we got him facing, you know, the living legend Jens Pulver. Jens Pulver is the first UFC lightweight champion. He's got wins over Cal Uno, Rob Emerson, Joe Stevenson, BJ Penn, you know. But on the other hand, my man's getting old. He's lost his 4 last fights, and he's lost 6 of his last 7. His most recent loss is to Josh Grisby via guillotine choke. Although he's going to get back on the winning wagon here again, because I don't think Javier Vasquez has a chance in hell against Jens Pulver, if he can keep it on his feet. If the fight goes to the ground, it evens out pretty much, and I think Vasquez then becomes the favorite. Jens Pulver is a good wrestler, though, with good takedown defense. So I'm going to go Jens Pulver, unanimous decision. Then we go to the co-main event. We have Joseph Benavidez versus Miguel Torres. Benavidez is 11-1. His only loss coming to Dominic Cruz, who is in the main event. Trains with Uriah Faber at Team Alpha Male. Fights like Uriah Faber. I mean, this kid's a banger. Good submissions, good stand-up. But he's fighting Miguel Torres. You know, Miguel Torres was on a 17-fight win streak before losing to Brian Bowles. Good jiu-jitsu, good Muay Thai. Good submissions, great stand-up. He'll take the fight anywhere, and he wants to beat you where you're best at. I like Benavidez. I love Uriah Faber. I love Team Alpha Male. But poor kid's going to add another loss to his record. Torres is pissed. And less than a calendar year from this date, March 3rd, 2010, at 3:20 p.m., Miguel Torres will be the champion again in this division. The guy's a monster. Top 10 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I put him in my top 7. Without the loss to Brian Bowles, he's in my top 5. It was a mishap. He's better than Brian Bowles. He's the best fighter in the world in this division, and he'll soon to be proving it. Miguel Torres, I'm going to go unanimous decision. I want to say he's going to finish him, but, you know, like I said, I love Team Alpha Man. I love Benavidez, and I love Uriah Faber, so I'm not going to count you out, buddy, but Miguel Torres is a monster. Be careful, Mr. Benavidez, and I hope you got a good insurance plan, because this guy's thirsty for blood. So after that, we got Brian Bowles, Dominic Cruz in our main event. Brian Bowles, I mean, what can I say? He's 9-0. He is the bantamweight champion, and he beat, you know, the living legend I was just speaking about, Miguel Torres. I think he's going to win this fight, but I'm not sold on Brian Bowles. Dominic Cruz, his only loss is to Uriah Faber when he was wrestling at featherweight in his WEC debut. He gave Benavidez his first loss at WEC 42. He's on a 5-fight win streak. But Bowles just destroyed Miguel Torres. He caught him with some good punches, and Miguel Torres was knocked out of his game, and Brian Bowles is now your champion. He's got wins over Charlie Valencia and Damasio Page. And I think he's going to have another win here, which is going to set up the Miguel Torres-Brian Bowles fight, which is going to get Torres back his belt, and it's going to be less than a year from today. I just told you guys that. So, Brian Bowles, TKO round 3. I know it's a 5-round fight. I don't think it's going to go 5 rounds. If it was a 3-round fight, I would say unanimous decision, but it's not. So please subscribe, comment. If you're going to talk shit, please talk shit. If you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. If not, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you.